Hello, we are live from Nashville, Tennessee. And we are your hosts of Espresso with Aaron and Sarit. And my name is Aaron.
And I'm Sarit.
And today, on this very special episode, we are going to be introducing Mr. Boogie. Hi, Boogie.
Hi, Boogie.
Behind the curtain, number one is Mr. Boogie. Okay, so today we're going to be... Do you think you could breathe a little quieter?
No, Mama. I just made a caca.
Today we're going to be talking about breaking the perfection trap and how to do this journey without allowing the fear of failure to overcome you. I tried to mix all those words together. The fear of failure overcome you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And if you're here watching us live, please drop your name in the comments or the chat, wherever you are. We would love to see you.
And I would like to ask you a question. For those of you who are joining us live, where did you find the link to join us live today?
It's either on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah, well, I want to know where most are coming from so that we can promote it better.
And I'll eat this meat stick. So you do the show, I'll eat the meat stick, and I'll watch.
Yeah, okay, so fear of failure. What's up, Lisa? What's up, Taylor and Melissa? Good to see you guys. Facebook.
Hey, okay. Taylor made it. Is your wife here too? Okay. So
Awesome.
Listen, I was thinking about, okay, so if we're going to talk about how to overcome the perfection trap, is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is perfection to you? I would like to know. Please pardon me while I talk with my mouth full. It's really hard to eat the amount of protein I'm trying to eat.
Why are you eating so much?
Listen, I went to the dentist this morning, and so I didn't have very much food for the beginning of the day, and I got my quota, all right?
You got your quota. You're getting in your numbers. Awesome.
I am. I'm going to have like beef breath over here.
I can smell it. All right. So let's talk about fear. That's what you asked them, right?
Mm-mm.
What'd you ask them?
Perfection.
Okay.
Because here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
To think we'll ever be perfect is ridiculously egotistical. Now, we might have moments where we know our capability to follow through with something exactly as it's written. Okay, so I imagine some people would think of perfection as that. I'm following it perfectly. I'm doing it perfectly, right? Like, oh, I shot a free throw. I made it in the basket, so it was perfect. But if we think that we are beyond, life's unexpected circumstances, adversities, trials, hiccups, speed bumps, roadblocks, whatever, sum it up into unexpected events. We've lost our marbles. Because if we think that the plan fails, the moment we think everything is going to go the way we plan.
That's good.
So you can have a perfect plan. You could have a perfect nutrition plan. You could have a perfect workout program. Oops, but you hurt your knee. Now what? Oops, you got a flat tire on the way to the gym. Now what?
You should tell them what happened when you got to the dentist today.
What? Which part?
The
part where I was there for like 3 hours?
The end part, when you were there for 3 hours.
Oh, where I started my period on the chair? Well, you got to do what you got to do, man. You know? Actually, I was in a lucky break because they were like in between, like my mouth was getting numbed. And so I was just kind of, no, it was even before that. They did something, took some pictures or whatever. And then I was sitting waiting and then I was like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Well, here's the funny part. I went to the bathroom and that's when I found out. And I was like, oh. So I went out of the bathroom, and I grabbed what I needed to grab, and then I went back in the bathroom. Anyways, it was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
It's just kind of weird that it happened right then.
All right, so let's think within us. Let's take it deeper, because as Erin's sharing what she's sharing, I'm thinking about myself. And yes, if you've been in our community, especially if you've been in our programs, you've heard us talk about the concept of the pursuit of greatness instead of, seeking perfection. And I'm right now, I'm coaching myself too, because easy to say on paper, harder to embody it. For example, why do we, and this is the question that I'm asking myself, why do we have this expectation? Come on, sweetheart. Callie wants to join us. Why do we have this expectation that whenever we do something, we set ourselves to do something, be it drop weight, be it start a new routine? The reason why Erin's like focusing on hitting her numbers is because right now we're both on week number 5 of the Peak Physique 180 program. So why is it that when we start something, be it this show right now, when we turned on the camera or whatever it may be, by the way, we have an exciting challenge that's coming up next month. More to come on that in about a week or so.
Hold your horses.
But I'm thinking about myself. Why is it that when I set myself out to do something, okay, I have this expectation that everything is going to go according to plan, even though
I don't know why you still do. You ought to know better by now.
I know, and I still get upset every single time. Like before we started this show, I was like,
where's the link?
I just realized, I'm like, it's really hard for people to find the link. And that's why I asked you guys that question. So in myself, I go into self-judgment. These are all the things that you need to do better. And these are all the things that you're not doing. And I'm going to have a meeting about it. We're going to do a change because I'm just so dissatisfied. Go ahead and drop dissatisfied. If you're like, dude, I hear you. I can relate. When something doesn't go my way, when something doesn't go according to plan, I pout about it. So I pouted for the first 5 minutes. I'm like, how can I stall this show? Because I really don't want to be here right now. I was like, I might as well put a paper bag on my head and dump some poop on it. And
okay, that escalated quickly.
And just like
light it on fire.
Because the subconscious story that I tell myself. So like this is just I'm totally like walking you through my mind right now with all of my.
And there's a point. I'm sure there's a point to the story.
So the story that I tell myself every time I set myself out to do something, and I'm like, bump, obstacle. The first thing that happens is this recurring theme of you're not good enough.
You been there?
That's the story that I get inside. So I'm like, shame. That's why I'm like, you might as well put a paper bag over my face, because I'm like,
that's the solution.
I feel like all of you guys are just seeing me through my shame. And I think many of you guys have seen me in so many of those embarrassing moments.
I think I should make an Instagram video with you with a paper bag on your face, and then I cut little holes right here. And then the video will be something about like the morning after you smashed a box of Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
And then it'll have a frowny face on the bag. Right there.
Okay, so Lisa, you can relate. Taylor and Melissa, you can relate. Okay, got it. So you can relate. So I share that because for me, like first thing that happens is the you're not good enough story, which by the way, I'm so over it. And that's why I'm like, all right, turn it around. Like, this is what I tell myself. I'm like, turn it around, bitch. Like, it's a new moment. Go time. Like, focus out. So
you're too kind.
So I share that to say, before we get to the mechanics, that it's one of those things. It's just like getting in great shape. I was literally talking to the dental hygienist today because she was asking us like what we do, blah, blah, blah. So, like I showed her like $1 Million Body Society and all the things that we're up to and blah, blah, blah. And, she was telling me about her goals and how she, wants to get in better shape. And
Is she the one that eats Chick-fil-A every day?
oh, no, she didn't
Oh,
tell
that
me
was my dental hygienist.
Oh, gosh. But, we went there and we were talking about how deep down we all intuitively know what we should be doing, right? Like, we all know that a better lunch, if you had two options, option number one is pepperoni pizza versus option number two.
Not the kind I made this weekend.
No, not that one. By the way,
Little Caesars, pizza. Papa John's.
Gross.
Papa Murphy's. You ever have that?
No, I've never even heard of it.
It's the kind they make raw and you take it home and you bake it yourself.
Oh, it's the one from like the store, the Target.
Sure. Target pizza.
Whatever. Okay. Anyways, so
if you had
option number two is, let's say, grilled chicken thighs, sweet potatoes, and some kind of vegetables. Which is a better lunch option? Option one, the pepperoni pizza, Uncle John's pepperoni pizza.
Uncle John. Little Caesars. Everybody knows.
Or option two, grilled chicken thighs with sweet potatoes and some kind of salad.
Okay, hold on.
Option
Can you drop in a little like laughy emoji if you've giggled to yourself at all since the start of this or since you showed up here? Because I love to laugh and I love to make other people laugh, because in that moment we can't be anything else. You can't be sad. You can't be angry. You can't be frustrated. You can't be depressed. You can't be mad. Like, all you can do is like have joy in that moment. So anyways, pepperoni pizza or chicken breast.
Yeah. So you guys dropped option two, right? So like intuitively, we all know what eating better is like. You really don't need to have some kind of like scientific, like, in the metabolic reset, we take you through like 4 different nutritional principles, right? Principle 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's pretty complicated, right? But deep down, it's really simple. Life is pretty simple. And when I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to myself, because I do this shit to myself all the time. Like I just did it 10 minutes ago before we started. So the reality is, so whatever you set yourself up to is really simple, and we make it complicated. Why? Because we get emotional. Drop a knee if you know that you let your emotions get in the way sometimes. I do too. B, we want things to be perfect at all given points in time. And if something happens, and let's say we're being faced with an obstacle and it's not perfect, then we get emotional again.
So many downward spiral.
So many emotions. You might as well put a paper bag on it.
And then I eat because I'm fat, and I'm fat because I eat. That's what I used to say.
Yeah, and the third piece is that these emotions also cultivate other thoughts, patterns, and feelings, especially the feeling of fear. So my question for you guys is,
what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of the dark?
What are you afraid of? And don't tell me, Sarit, I'm afraid of spiders.
Monster under my bed.
Don't tell me, Sarit, I'm afraid of
the boogeyman.
Of Callie eating my face. I think all of you guys would actually love seeing
Callie kisses.
Yeah. But truly, what are you afraid of? So I want to hear it from you, and I also want to share what are some of the things that I've heard from people. Aaron and I, we talk to a lot of people all the time. I mean, we go to get our teeth done, and we somehow end up having a conversation with our dental hygienist and, our dentist and all of that. It just happens. Okay. All right. So thank you, Charlene, for sharing. First, you started surface level, and then we got into it. Okay.
People only actually have 7 basic fears, right?
Yeah, according to Napoleon Hill. So Charlene said, the dark, being fat forever, dying young. Thank you for that. Thank you for, just being open and vulnerable about that. I'd like to know from you guys as well.
We just started a new month, which means we have a new book of the month, which this month it's Discipline is Destiny
by Ryan Holiday. Yeah, I saw Laura Hanrahan is like eating it up.
It's an amazing book. If you don't get our All the Goods emails, by the way, you probably would be crying yourself to sleep every night if you knew what's in them and you're not getting them. But every Friday we send an email. It's called All the Goods, and it has like free workouts, recipes, a joke of the week, book of the month, a challenge of the month, all these free goodies. Wow, I'm spitting everywhere.
Where can they get it?
I can post a link here if you want to sign up for that. If you're on our email list and you have opened any emails in the last 30 days, you should be getting them. But in the case that you're not, you can either email support@aaronandsarit.com and say, hey, how can I get All the Goods emails? Or I'll drop a link in a couple minutes. But
and note to self, start opening our emails, because with the new email deliverability systems, if you don't open it for a certain time, it's just gonna skedaddle you.
Yeah.
Not by choice. It happens.
Yeah. But the book of the month, I just thought about a book of the month for next month that will be amazing because of this whole thing of fear. And it's like, if we have fear, it's because we're actually not present. We're either living in the past or we're living in the future.
That's good.
So we're afraid that something is going to happen that hasn't yet happened. Or that's where fear comes from, really. It doesn't come from the past because the past is gone. But like anxiety and fear come from thinking about the what ifs and the potential things that could happen that haven't actually happened, and you just start making them up inside your head, and then you get afraid of them. But if you're truly in the present moment, and you're totally present to it, there is no fear. There's only right now, this moment. There is no problem in the current moment right now. There may be a problem in 5 minutes that you're thinking about, but right now in this moment, there is no problem. So,
who was it? It was in a book.
Here's All the Goods.
And the author said, I don't remember who it is. And he was saying how we're not afraid of the past. We're afraid of the past repeating itself.
Michael Strasner.
That it was him. Okay, got it. Yeah. All right.
You know what? Why would I hold back anything from you guys? The book is called The Power of Now, and it's by Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like a big spiritual.
I went on a little sidetrack, but you guys will thank me about it.
Yeah, so some of you guys were saying how basically being afraid of the past repeating itself, right? Charlene, you said being fat, dying young.
She said being fat forever. I just dropped a link for that book.
Marva Jackson, failure. So here's my question to you, because this is how I overcome my fears, because I have a lot of fears too. Now, I do not let my fears dictate my lack of action. So here's the thing. When fear shows up, what you actually want to do is become aware of it, because, like, again, awareness is what's happening. what was happening before espresso started is I was rambling subconsciously about how I'm not worthy, not good enough, blah, 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 blah story. And we all have those stories between our ears. It looks different for each and every one of us. Now, when that fear shows up,
Hold on. So you said first become aware.
become aware.
I want to pause here for a second. How can you become aware? The next time you step on the scale and you don't see a number that you want to see or that you're expecting or hoping for, immediately become conscious of what the dialogue or the conversation is inside your head. We are all always in a conversation with ourselves. We are all always talking to ourselves. There's always a conversation going either with ourselves or with somebody or about somebody or something. Most of us just don't move our lips when we're in public because people will think we're crazy. But there's a conversation going on in there constantly, which is part of the problem and also part of what the book, The Power of Now, solves. But become conscious of what is the conversation that's happening in here. Anytime you are anytime you're feeling in a way that is undesirable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how you become aware. Now proceed.
Become aware. And a good question to kind of like evoke that is ask yourself either what is the story that I'm telling myself right now, or what is it that I'm feeling? Because sometimes we might not know what the story is. So when you can ask, let's say, scenario of the scale, you see a number that you don't like. I am feeling sad. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling like a failure, right? And then going one step deeper and asking ourselves, why? Why? And then it traces back to a story that could have literally been created 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Why can also be, where did that come from?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how did this show up? Because when you were a baby, you didn't have these same conversations.
Yeah, when you were
You
a baby,
didn't know any different.
When you were a baby, you actually, none of us cared about our weight. And if
You don't
anything,
have-
we all got celebrated for gaining weight because that means that's a sign of growth.
Look at these chunks. Wow.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's like when a baby goes for a checkup 1 month, 3 months, 6
yeah.
months, 1 year, one
Sure.
of the things that are
You're
signs
growing.
of growth and progress is weight gain. And if
Yeah.
there is no weight gain, then it's actually like a medical issue that leads to a further conversation. So become aware is step number 1. Okay. When we become aware, we identify the cause.
There's another book too. Lisa
The
Kalman.
problem is not the problem.
Lisa Kalman wrote, "The problem is the way you see the problem."
Oh yeah.
The problem is the way you see the problem. Your perspective is the problem, basically. And she goes into like where these things come from. Anyways, yes,
Yeah.
as you were saying.
Yeah. So first we become aware of it. And then the next thing that we do is we lean into it. Because whatever we resist persists. So if, let's say, when I felt what I was feeling, I was to just tell myself, all right, not showing up for espresso today.
I'm not doing espresso today.
Don't feel like it. I'm actually just going to go and put a brown bag over my head and mope about it. And
Aaron's going to make a video about me and cut holes in the bag and put brownie face on.
And that will probably make me continue that same feeling.
And then you'll feel bad you didn't show up to espresso and you let people down.
So whatever you resist persists, right? So the next thing that we do
and you
is...
feel bad that you feel bad.
And literally, this is how I walk myself through it. First, I became aware of the story. And then I leaned into it. Confront it. What is it really all about? Okay, I'm feeling like a loser right now. Very hard on myself. You guys know that. Double-edged sword. And then... choose to lean into it anyways. Why? Because the only way to change the reality that we live in is to change our course of action. So if I was to let my emotions get in the way, guess what? I would create the same thing that deep down, whatever my subconscious mind is telling me, I will bring that to life. And I refuse to. So I lean into it, click the button, felt like shit. Oh, what the fuck? Go for it anyways. And guess what?
And then Aaron made me laugh and the world was okay again.
That's right. And then you realize that, like, through every adversity that you come out of, I realize that, okay, like, if I can do this, I can overcome anything. And truly, this is what the pursuit of excellence is all about. It is all about closing the gap between where we currently are at and where we truly want to be. I'm nowhere close to where I want to be in life.
Well, here's I want to cut in. Elda, like, I don't know where she heard this definition, but when she gave it to us, she said it's closing the gap between where you currently are and perfection. Because perfection will never be reached. You'll have moments where you feel like I executed that thing perfectly, but you still are not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. We're not perfect. Callie's perfect. That's it. And so the idea is if perfection is here, it's just closing the gap, getting 1% better every day. Just making small improvements day by day by day. But ultimately, it's about being able to go to bed at night and say, I'm proud of myself for how I showed up regardless of my circumstances. I'm proud of myself for how I showed up regardless of my circumstances. Now, that could be that, like, maybe you didn't even make it to the gym at all, but you're like, okay, well, here I am. I don't know. For some reason, maybe you end up at the hospital. Let's say someone you love is having a baby. I don't know. Let's just make it a happy story. Okay. And like, you're the only one and they're counting on you, and so you got to be there. But you're like, all right, well, shoot, I'm going to look like an idiot and I'm going to run laps in the hallway just looking like a fool because that's what I got, and then you go to bed at night. You're like, I'm really proud of myself because I had every reason not to get my movement in today, but I still figured it out. So I want to wrap back around to this, like overcoming the perfection trap or taking action regardless of the fear of failure. If you, again, like, the problem is the way you see the problem. So if you think of failure as an identity, I am, then it's going to feel really terrible. But if you think of failure as a necessary ingredient, like sugar is to chocolate cake or flour, the cake will not be an awesome cake without the flour. Your success will not be awesome success without failure, without mess ups, without roadblocks, without adversity. Who's inspired by a story that's like, oh yeah, everything just went perfectly and here I am, I made it to the top, oh, go me. And who has that story? 0 people ever. Failure is the only way, mistakes are the only way that we can learn what our next step is. Do you get that? When you're a baby and you learn how to walk, no baby just gets up and starts walking and says, all right, peace out. They fall, and then physiologically their body reacclimates. It's smart. It says, oh my gosh, something went wrong there. Okay, let's adjust and try again. But it will not learn if it does not even try and then mess up and then try again. And then maybe you mess up in a different way, right? So maybe you messed up on your nutrition plan because it was the holidays and you didn't have the skills or the tools or the accountability or the community or the structure in place necessary to get through the holidays without backsliding 10 feet. Okay, got it. Maybe the next year you figure that out. So that's cool. But then you run into something else. Vacation. Oh, I haven't encountered this before. So now I messed up on vacation. Okay, well, now I can look back and say, what did I learn? So failure is literally a necessary ingredient in the recipe of your success.
Yeah.
It's
It's feedback.
That is quotable. That is quotable. Somebody, right?
I'll put it
What
on
did I
the
say?
thread. Failure is a necessary ingredient for success.
To the recipe. Failure is a necessary ingredient in the recipe of your success.
Mama, but I never fail.
I feel like that should be on the wall.
Recipe.
Or in a book.
Failure is a necessary
ingredient
in
the recipe of your success.
Oh, that's good.
Are you tweeting it?
I'm threading it.
I don't even know how to log into that thing.
Oh, so easy. Just go to our Instagram. Hit the threads tab. Our threads is legit.
So the problem lies in where you keep running into the same wall over and over and never learning from it. That is what is so defeating. Now, if you haven't learned from it, you either don't care enough, which is totally okay if that's where you're at. There's no judgment here. Some people are just not ready. They'll run into the same wall 100 times until it hurts bad enough. They're like, fuck this wall. I got to figure out a way over it, under it, around it, through it, whatever.
That was me.
Right? And so, and
drop in there if you've been there.
And look, I'll say, you know why a lot of people keep running into the same wall over and over again and they don't figure it out? It's because they think they can do it alone.
That's so good. I've been there too.
Because they think they can do it alone. Oh, I should be able to figure it out. Oh, I should know what to do. Oh, I know what to do. I just got to be able to do it. Oh, oh my gosh, I should have the willpower. I should. And you're shooting all over yourself. This is just a shooty mess. It's a stinky, shooty mess.
Shooty shitstorm. Brandy Coke, it's really great to see you. Gee, I don't see your full name, but it's good to see you.
So
Taylor,
with that to say, hello, like reach out for help, get somebody's help. I don't go find it for free on YouTube. Usually you won't do much with it because you didn't pay for it. But
I want to say something. Invest in yourself. Can we just talk about that real quick? Here, so we're gonna do a challenge next month, and for the first time ever, this challenge is gonna be paid. It's gonna be a small investment.
$1 million.
Why? In the past, many of you guys drop challenge if you've done our challenges before, like at least one of them. I believe that most of you guys have come to us because you've heard about our challenges. We love challenges. Our community is the best,
I will
most
tell you,
supportive around. Hold on. But so here's what we found in literally over dozens of challenges that we've ran. Do you know what is the percentage of people who even show up for the very first call when it's free? It will blow your mind, guys.
Guess. I really want to see you guess. Guess. Okay, I'm going to ask the question again. She said, when we do a free challenge, which they are epic. They're awesome. We put a lot of work into the front end of it. I'm talking about over a month beforehand. We are 2 months. Okay, it starts.
We've been planning it since December.
Okay, it was a thought in December, but we weren't actively creating materials for it.
Well, ideation was happening in December.
Right. Okay, we have a 60%. But look, guys, I'm not telling you the answer until there's at least 5 comments in there. Okay, how many people show up to day 1 of the free challenge? Day 1, just day 1. We're just trying to get through the door. We're just trying to give ourselves a fighting chance. How many people show up to day 1? We got a 60%. We got a 23%.
Guys, your life doesn't depend on that answer.
No, just go.
Throw a number.
Yeah, we got 25%. Okay.
Give us 2 more.
Yeah. Not enough.
Give us a number.
15. Yeah, 99% is not enough. 95%.
Wow, you guys are so optimistic. I love it. I love it. Yeah. On day 1,
2%.
Drop an emoji for that. Drop an emoji for when you saw that.
2%.
So what we're doing is
This is after we've done how many? I don't even lost count of how many.
so I want to talk about that real quick. So what we're doing this time, this challenge is going to be a very low investment.
Yeah.
Why? Accountability.
Mhm.
And I want to talk about, so the first
Put some skin in the game.
the,
The more
fir-
skin
the
you
first
have,
10 years of my life when I was trying to figure it out on my own, and I was
this could be a
just
whole topic.
falling on the floor every single time, getting back up, doing the same thing over and over and over again. Do you know what happened? I ran into the same problem over and over and over and over and over again.
It's because you can't see the problem.
Because I had no accountability. I had no accountability.
And I'm sure what you thought the problem wasn't actually the problem.
It wasn't. Exactly. So the reason why I want to say this is, yes, YouTube is great. And yes, like you can honestly like get a PhD from being on YouTube nowadays, but that's not where results show up. Results show up in application, not in what's in here. I'm about to say something and it might sound harsh. I know a lot of registered dietitians with love. We all, like anyone who goes into the fitness industry, whether it's a personal trainer, registered dietitians, I also know a lot of personal trainers who look like they need help.
Like you wouldn't look at them and be like, oh yeah, I could see that they're a personal trainer. And it's superficial and shallow, but it's reality.
Yeah. And I believe that, and I totally get it. Like with some people, like I have no context. So please know that this is not like towards any specific person. It's just a general like opinion. And it is completely my own opinion. And that is, there is a big difference between knowing something on paper versus knowing something through wisdom and application. Now, I'm not saying that the paper is not important. Please don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But the paper is literally just like it's just a stamp of approval. But the paper is not where the results show up. The results show up in application. I'll tell you, Erin and I, we have degrees, we have certifications, all of that. By the way, you'll never see us put it on the wall. Not because we don't have it, because that is not the thing that got us to transform lives the way that we do. It was wisdom.
There's also a lot to be said about consistency.
Yeah.
Because also it's the same thing. Like, you know, somebody can be really healthy for a month. You know, if the dentist walked in today and her teeth were all messed up and like moldy, and I'd be like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. Because there's also just a life like value and principle that I have of like, if I am going to give instruction, I'm also going to follow the same principle. Like if I'm going to guide somebody by principles and that's just the best word for it, I better be following those principles. It's like integrity. It's a personal integrity thing to me. Now, I'm saying anybody can live their life however they want to live their life. It's just a matter of like practicing what you preach and the do as I say, not as I do versus I'm going to lead by example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
and that's my own personal preference.
Yeah. So anyways, I want to share that because based on what you were saying, I'm like, no, like do yourself a favor. Invest in yourself in whatever it is you're pursuing, because that is actually the only way for you to achieve whatever you want to achieve. And what do you think the school system is? Like college, like that is one of the biggest investments that parents make for their kids. Why do you think kids finish college where, let's be honest, guys, 80% of us who go to college don't even know what the fuck we want to do? Were you? I was there. Were you there?
2 years in, I quit.
I got the degree that I got because I wanted to make my parents proud. What is that? There is an investment that goes into it. And I don't care if your parents paid for it. I don't care if you got some kind of scholarship because you played sports, if it's a combination of the two. It's accountability. right? Therefore, you finish. Meanwhile, free challenge. Oh, yeah. The only effort it took is let me put my name, my email address. 2 out of 100 people show up for day 1.
Because also probably
how many people?
Because also probably 98% of them are laying in bed at 2 a.m. half asleep, about to drop their phone on their face, and don't remember that they even did it. Because literally, we would call every single person and say, "Hey, awesome! We're so glad you're coming." Like, and they'd be like, "Oh, what is this?" Like, or they would we would text them, and then they would text us back, "Stop!" And we're like, "You signed up and gave us your phone number." Crazy.
Yeah. So
who did?
So money is one of the greatest forms of accountability.
Yeah, imagine if you said, "I'm going to lose 20 pounds, otherwise I'm going to owe $1 million to, I don't know, something." You think you'd lose 20 pounds? And then the next thing
Uncle
is
Sam. Imagine if Uncle Sam was
to
give
taxes.
interest.
You had to pay $1 million tax if you didn't lose your 20 pounds, and then you had to pay another $1 million tax if you didn't keep it off for more than 2 years. I bet you would lose 20 pounds and keep it off for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then by then you would have all of the habits in place that just stay off for the. You know what? We should create a program. It's called the weight loss tax. I'm not kidding though. Do you think you would do it? Of course you would.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have something at stake.
Yeah.
When there's nothing at stake, who cares? It's like, you know how many people would speed more than they do now if there were no penalty for it? You know,
can you tell them the story about the poop situation that we got in this complex that we're in and what you keep on telling me?
Yeah, it's so dumb. So everywhere we walk,
Aaron for governor.
Okay, so all the grassy areas, literally, like, you have to tiptoe through, look to make sure you don't step on dog poop. And I'm like, I do not know what goes on in the minds of the residents in this area where their dogs just poop. Did you not see it? Do you just let your dog out and then, like, you don't pay attention? Or do you deliberately watch your dog and then you're just like lazy and you don't pick it up, you don't care, whatever? Like what did your dog accidentally poop while you were walking back in the house and you didn't see it? Like, what happened? Anyways, I said, if this like community just even threatened to fine people, because I was like, they should fine people for not picking up their dog poop. I bet you it would solve the problem. So it's like, how will you be able to know who doesn't pick up their dog poop?
I'm like, to track it.
I'm like, it's not about tracking it. It's about the thought of the consequence. Nobody wants to get fined for a stupid thing like that. So just by putting that in place, people will automatically start picking up dog poop. It might not be 100% because some people will still risk it for the biscuit, if you know what I mean. Like, I speed because I'm like, I want to get from point A to point B. And if I get in trouble, I earned it. Okay. But I know the price that I'm willing to pay. So fine people for not picking up their poop. It's like, if there's no consequence, there's no follow through. So if you put in money and you don't follow through, you're like, well, that is a consequence. So I better get stepping.
Mm-hmm.
And the more uncomfortable the payment is,
the
more inspiration. You want instant motivation? Go pay somebody a lot of money to help you get to your goals. Instant motivation.
Mm-hmm.
Now, ideally, the motivation ends up turning into habits and behaviors and a lifestyle to where you no longer need to do that. But that's how it's simple.
Yeah.
Go give up something you don't want to lose to get something that you haven't gotten.
Mm-hmm. That's so good. So good. Okay. So quick recap of what we talked about today. We talked about we talked about how the concept of perfection is just unreasonable and easier said than done. And we literally walked you through a current scenario and we dissected that. So how do we come the quote unquote perfection trap? By the way, go ahead and drop a P in the chat if you would consider yourself to be a recovering perfectionist.
A P for
like me. I would love to know. So thing number one is become aware. What is the story that you're telling yourself when you find yourself in that moment of struggle, frustration, fear, whatever it may be? Okay. So become aware of the story. And a good way to become aware of the story is to maybe evoke a couple of questions if you're not yet familiar with how to just bring that up. So some questions that you can ask is, what am I feel? What is this thing that I'm feeling right now in this moment? That's one question that you can ask. Or what am I scared of? And thank you guys for dropping it. I see your piece. The other thing is, after you confront the thing that you're feeling, don't resist it, because whatever resists persists. Instead, lean into it.
Embrace it. Give it a hug.
Lean into it. Otherwise, you're going to continue to create the same reality over and over and over again, and you're actually going to exacerbate your fears. Okay, so lean into it and become aware of last time, whatever it is that you did, let's say prior to stepping on the scale, like let's say 7 days prior to, okay, well, what did you eat in those 7 days? If you saw the scale and you're like, I don't like the number that I saw. Like, get honest with yourself. And then back it up with some accountability. A great form of accountability is investing in yourself in one way, shape, or form with whatever it is that you want to do. Why? Because when you have something tangible to lose, it's a reminder in your forefront every single day of, hey, if I don't show up for this, this is what happens. Because we literally shared with you stats. And by the way, those stats are in direct correlation to what Napoleon Hill talks about in the book called Outwitting the Devil. Another great book where
I feel like we dropped 4 awesome books on
this. Where he basically talks about the trap of life. Like 98% of people live life without a purpose, and that's why they're lost. And the way that it's manifested is in compromised health, being overweight, poverty, depression, the whole ordeal, right? It's all mental patterns. So if you want to learn more about that, check out Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. But the stat that he literally pulled up a stat and in that book, and he said 98% of people are drifting their way through life and
unconscious.
And I'll tell you guys,
unaware.
We've done more than 20 challenges throughout our career so far. At least once we've counted, because I believe when we started, we didn't track everything. And from our trackings, like we would see an average of anywhere between 1% to 3% show up on day one. And let me tell you some, not because we didn't communicate, not because we didn't send an email, not because we didn't send a text, not because we didn't drop
every way we can think about.
Yeah. In multiple ways. So, it's just when we don't have something tangible to lose, then it's really easy to let our patterns stay the same. That's the drift.
Yeah, we sabotage ourselves.
Yeah. And you literally saw me in that, like, for the first couple minutes of today's espresso. So yeah, it happens, you guys, like people, it's just a part of the human experience. So don't expect for life to be perfect. Instead, seek to become better through every single imperfect event. Simple as that.
Done.
And that does it for today.
Stay tuned, especially starting next week. We're going to be giving you details about the upcoming challenge. It's called the Stay on Track Challenge. To stay on track, because January is done.
Yeah, no more.
And so now it's not time to get on track. It's time to stay on track, or get back on track and then stay on track. Okay. Either way, whichever boat you're in. Okay. All right. That's it for today. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up for yourselves. If anything in this video really resonated with you, or you thought about somebody else in your life while you were watching this video, just click the share button, copy the link, and text it to them, or Facebook message it to them or whatever. We can only reach so many people by ourselves. And so your help really goes a long way.
Kelly, any last words of wisdom?
I'm going to finish my nap. Okay.
I'm perfect.
I'm perfect. Okay. Bye. See you guys.
Love you guys.